Well, it's a chilly, frosty Friday morning, but the sun's out and it's shining, so it's a good day to get some farm chores done. We wanted to take advantage of the nice clear days and the break in the snowstorms to come down and do a little bit of housekeeping, I guess, for the pigs and the goats as well. The previous weekend, we had gone up and cleared a bunch of the excessive snow buildup from inside the goat pen. And this weekend, it was time to give the pig pen that same kind of attention. Each time I've gone out clearing the snow on our property, I've been sure to come into here and keep this access open. But this time, we've got to get these gates dug out from the ice buildup so that we can get them open and get in there to get some fresh bedding going for them. We want to move the pigs back into one of the stalls and close the gate so that they're secured and out of the way while we get this snow and ice dug out. However, there's enough snow and ice buildup inside the pen that we can't get the gates to move. So we threw down a little bit of feed inside the one stall and had the boys block them off while we got down in here to get this ice broken loose and get the snow out of the way so we could close the gate properly. As the snow has accumulated this winter and the pigs go about their day-to-day, they tend to walk in the same general pathways, and that causes the snow to compress down and pack down and form a pretty solid layer of ice. So as it is, we've built up about an 8-inch layer that we needed to get dug out. The whole intention of trying to get this ice dug out is just to clean things up a little bit and get things prepared for our baby animal season. We're currently about 2 to 3 weeks away from kidding season to start with the goats, and then the pigs are only about 3 weeks behind them for farrowing. So our main goal is just to get things kind of cleaned up a little bit and get some fresh bedding in all of the stalls for the pigs. That gives them about 3 or 4 weeks to get it worked down into a really nice, comfortable bedding before they farrow. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and clean up some of the old feed hay from inside the pen as well. When we put this pen together last spring, we were getting a couple of pigs, and we had planned on being able to have some here and raise them up to put in the freezer. It didn't take long after having the pigs here to realize that we really enjoyed having them, and we wanted to kind of dig our heels into breeding and raising pigs. I've raised pigs a number of times in the past, but that's only ever been weaner pigs we got in the spring. We raised them up all summer and then took them to butcher in the fall. I've never bred and raised pigs. In fact, I've never kept pigs over the winter either. So this was going to be a new winter experience for us, and it has. It's taught us a lot, and we've learned a lot of things. One key thing that we learned is that this pig pen is really, really great for summertime raising, but it's not that great setup for winter. The sheltering works really great for the pigs, and they do amazing. We do have water down here that's fresh water on a frost-free hydrant, and the pigs don't bother or press against the containment fencing either. The only part that we're really not very satisfied with is our feeding systems. The feed that we give our pigs is a good hog mix grain feed that we get from our local mill, and then we also supplement them with hay. The hay serves to give them a bit more of that forage intake that's really good, especially for these kind of lard pigs that we're raising. So in the summertime, we put a fresh bale of hay out into the middle of the pen, and they can root through that and tear into it all they want. We leave the strings on it, and it stays together for quite a while before they eventually blow it wide open. And then we give them the grain feed in these stainless steel feeders over here on the side. In the wintertime, however, the hay doesn't stay nearly as dry. It gets snow on top, and as they root through it, that hay gets wet from the snow and the mud and the walking around, and we get more of it tromped down in. As they root around in the hay, they throw more of it over near the feeder, and then the hay gets into the bottom of these feeders and freezes, and then the grain won't come through. So it just complicates things for us. So I guess if we had stuck with our original plan of just getting a few pigs and raising them up to put in the freezer, this pen would have been amazing. But since we want to raise them and breed them and have them all the time, we're going to have to make some improvements to this pen this summer. All in all, everything's going just fine with these pigs over this winter. We just want to make things better if we can. One of those improvements that will happen inherently next year is our hay storage. We had it all stacked up and we had it tarped and covered, and then in one storm we had a whole bunch of wind that ripped the tarps off and then covered us with about 10 or 12 inches of snow, and it just was done by then. The hay was wet and it had snow on it, so now we just have to deal with it. You can see that this hay bale that we delivered is getting dug out right now, and that's because of the moisture. It looks like smoke, but it's actually just steam hitting the sunlight. But that moisture has gotten into the bale and started a fermenting process that creates a lot of heat. And if you're not careful, that heat can actually combust and start a fire. I've seen it happen on more than one occasion. The whole haystack starts to go to fire, and the only thing you can do about it is try to keep everything clear and try to knock down the haystack and get it scattered out so that you can get the flames put out. So I've moved around the remaining bales of hay in my stack just to keep a little bit of air gap between each vertical stack. That helps to keep the airflow going so that it doesn't trap that moisture and fermentation in there, and helps release the heat from that fermentation process. Next year, we'll have this hay stored underneath the lean-to of the barn where it'll stay dry and clean and be easy to get to. For the goats up here, we wanted to come in and give them some fresh bedding as they get ready to come into kidding season. So we went through and put a little bit of diatomaceous earth and barn lime and spread that down around over top of their existing bedding just to help get rid of any kind of moisture and virus load, and then put out the new straw bedding and spread it out for them. They'll work that down over the next week or so and have it worked down into a really nice bed. The next morning, we decided was a good day to get a bunch of firewood taken care of and processed in the morning before moving on to working inside the barn. When we started out this winter season, we thought we were pretty well prepared with the amount of firewood that we had cut and split and stacked. The thing we hadn't expected was to have such cold weather so much earlier than we had in the years past. And now that we're heating 3 buildings, that's a substantial increase in the amount of firewood that we have to use. We didn't expect to have to dip into this log pile nearly as much as we have, but it's there and it's ready, so it's easy to get to and use. This will also be a dramatic improvement for us next year with this barn shop being done. That will give us the space to cut, split, and stack a large stockpile of firewood and have it ready and dry and covered. Then we can simply come to that stockpile as needed to distribute it to the various buildings and have plenty of firewood ready to go. But for now, this is working out just fine for us. We ended up cutting enough firewood here to make 3 trips with the Ranger down to the splitter to get split and stacked. And that should be plenty to get by with for the next 3 to 4 weeks without any problem, even heating all 3 buildings. Now we've got some warm buildings and the rest of the afternoon to go through and try to tidy up and get as much of this insulation put up inside the shop as we can possibly do today. Once we got into it pretty well with this insulation, we were able to get into a pretty good rhythm. Ola does a pretty good job of stuffing this batting and getting it straightened out good, but she absolutely hates doing the cutting. So I stayed on the bottom and did all the cutting of the bats, notching them for the beams, making sure that everything was cut to length, and just getting it all prepared. I'd get a stack ready to go, she'd get them stuffed in, and then I'd move her down the wall as she needed. That was going pretty quickly, so we had Everest come up and give us a hand as well. So he went to the other side and started stuffing the bats, and I just fed insulation to both of them. We got quite a bit done on Saturday. Most of the walls are insulated. There's a little bit over there and a little bit up here that needs to get finished, and we'll be in good shape. Sunday, I didn't get anything done up here. It started out with chaos and ended with chaos. I was running all day trying to get our well pumping. For some reason, our power line's not getting power down to the well, so I had to get the generator in there. Our portable generator's engine seized on me, so I can't. So the only generator I've got is the big welder, which is great, but it's not as portable as a portable, which meant I had to first load the generator into the truck, then take the loader off the tractor, put the snowblower back on, go down and snowblow the path into the well pad. And I got in there with the generator, and it was a little low on fuel, so I thought, well, I'll take it up to the tank and top it off. And I went to do that, and the tank's empty. Had about, I don't know, a quart, maybe a quart and a half of fuel available in it. So we were out of fuel. Anyway, just was a lot of things working against me at the time. So at this point, I kind of need to take a minute and get in here with our little Ranger. That also broke. the drive belt came apart. And I use that thing every day. We use it. That's just how we access everything on our place. So I need to get the Ranger in here so that I can get the belt changed. I need to get just a few things looked over. If I can get the door open, I can get stuff in here and get it comfortable and get it fixed and get things back into working order for a minute and see what else we can do. Get caught up.